Guardrails are important. They keep us from veering off the path and into potential danger. Just as highway guardrails let you speed safely, the right corporate guardrails can actually boost innovation. Dr. Nick van der Meulen, MIT Sloan research scientist, has studied how giants like Allstate, Mars, and Toyota use guardrails as innovation accelerators. In this video, he'll share how Toyota has retained a startup-like agility and give you ideas on how to speed up your own company's innovation.
Let me first start with what I mean by agile. I'm not talking about capital A agile as in the agile methodology, but with agility, I'm referring to organizational agility, which is an organization's ability to continuously sense changes in its environment, opportunities, and seize them. So what makes Toyota a good example of an agile organization is that they're in the midst of a big transformation, going from a car manufacturer to a mobility services company. Now, what that means can be a great number of things. It can be coming up with autonomous vehicles, for instance, but it could also mean coming up with entirely new business models. So to come up with that, you need employees that are continuously identifying changes in customer needs, into technological developments, but also inside the organization are looking for best practices and change that you can adopt organization-wide. Toyota is a great example of an organization that is doing that continuously to come up with these exciting new offerings, from very small solutions like new ways to operate your infotainment system to these large new business models such as car sharing and having vehicles by the hour. Without guardrails, there's no focus for empowered employees. So man, you're giving operational decision rights, authority, and accountability for realizing strategic objectives to your employees. But if you're not guiding them with a clear purpose, with data, with policies, and the resources to be successful, then what you introduce is misalignment and greater complexity. And we saw this very clearly at Toyota Connected, which is a subsidiary of Toyota in North America that focused on creating these exciting digital offerings and managing the telematics data. And they started in 2016, group of 40 people, but quickly grew over time. By 2019, we're over 200 people. And they had free reign, essentially, to figure out what customer needs were and to come up with these exciting digital offerings. Over time, these teams started to focus on their own objectives, their own speed, by, for instance, introducing local copies of data, by favoring technologies that they preferred, not taking into account the needs of Toyota Connected and Toyota Motor North America. So in order to avoid that, some guardrails, as I just mentioned, had to be put in place. The lesson is for organizations, in order to sustain that empowerment in the long run, what you want is these guardrails to help do that. They are a great example of a guardrail that I call minimum viable policy. It's not like minimum viable product where you start small and over time make it bigger. It's actually the exact opposite. You start to look for ways in which policies and standards might actually hold teams back. So one way that they do that is, for instance, every day at 5 p.m. at Toyota Connected, they have what they call the Executive Action Team. It's where senior leaders come together, and that's where they discuss any roadblocks that teams have brought up to them. So if team says like, hey, these policies or standards, they don't really work for us, they're keeping us from doing X, and they have one day to come up with ways to either remove these roadblocks or maybe decide that they have to be retained. The other thing that they do is they're very smart about reuse. So I discuss in the article an example about how they use a design system that every product team has to adhere to. And what that does is through that reuse, it helps teams to go faster. First major lesson we learned from Toyota is that guardrails serve as enabling constraints. When done right, guardrails do not diminish empowerment, but greatly enhance it. It's like their counterparts on the road. Guardrails don't just keep you from harm, they also guide you and give you the confidence to go faster. The second lesson we learned calls back to that minimum viable policy concept. And what we saw there is that leaders saw their role differently. They saw that it was not their job to tell or even show teams what to do. Their job was to remove impediments, roadblocks that kept teams from doing their very best work. This is only just scratching the surface of how leaders can enable organizational agility through empowerment. For more information, read The 4 Guardrails That Enable Organizational Agility on the MIT Sloan Management Review website.